So I'm just going to dive in here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about myself. I subscribe to something called Inbox Zero, and it's the reason for this talk. There's been many people over the years that have asked me, like, wait a minute, go back to your inbox. Where are all of your email? How do you keep your email so clean? And part of it is because I have a superhero anxiety that lets me have a zero inbox, but in reality, back probably 20 years ago, I started making sure that all of my email was addressed, and it's been years in the making. So I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Gmail, how to automate Gmail, cutting the crap out of your inbox. Everybody has crap in their inbox. I'll talk a bit about how to help manage some of that. Setting boundaries on your email with filters, putting all of that stuff together, and then some basic Gmail tips that we've picked up over the years. We're going to talk about Google Drive a little bit. What is it? How to find, search, and organize. That's the biggest complaint that I get about Google Drive is that people just can't find stuff. So we're going to touch a little bit on that. The university is a huge ecosystem for Google stuff. So the Google Drive stuff is a bit complicated, but I'll give you some tips and tricks. And then we're going to spend some time doing some Q&A. And this can be anything specific to what we're talking about today or any other Gmail or Google Drive questions that you might have. So I've been using Google Drive since 2004. I was like one of the first 1,000 users of it. I knew a buddy that worked at Google and he sent me an invite. I used Microsoft Outlook for work email. Those two worlds didn't come together until fall of 2011 when the university switched to Gmail. So I've been using personal since 2004 and then switched since 2011. I haven't deleted an email since 1998, not counting spam. Spam don't count. And there's a picture of me when I started using Microsoft Outlook for email back in 1997. So everybody hears about like Inbox Zero. It's an approach to email management, right? And the goal is to keep an inbox empty or almost empty at all times. You can Google around, you can find stuff online about it. Some stuff makes sense, some stuff doesn't. We're going to focus on what works for best for you and your work style. The stuff, if you Google, how to do inbox zero, right, it's going to be overwhelming and frustrating. But I think the goal is, and we can all agree that if we had less email in our inbox to grab our focus, right, the better. And that's what we're going to try to focus on today. I had to do a sidebar note because I asked UMGPT to make me an image of somebody listening to a single person in a crowd of people yelling. And that's kind of what your inbox is, right? There's stuff trying to get your attention around a million other messages that are also trying to get your attention, right? But I just thought it was funny because this is what the image that AI made for me. Apparently it thinks that a crowd of people yelling are all zombies. I thought that was funny. I had to share that. So I would ask for a round of hands in the room, but I can't do that. Maybe in Zoom, if you can put your hand up for a second. Who used Outlook or Thunderbird or Outlook Express or any of these email clients back in the day? I see a few people. Outlook is the old way of dealing with email, and Microsoft Outlook treated each email like it was a file that would go into a folder, like your traditional filing cabinets. It worked nice because you could put folders in folders, you could sort, and you could search a little bit. Microsoft Outlook searching was extremely slow. And an email could only be in one folder. And now we have Gmail, right, which is what we all use. And Gmail, instead of a filing folder or a filing cabinet, think about it like a recycle bin, like a big bin. All of your email just goes into that big bin. And each one of those emails will have a label on it somewhere. If it doesn't have a label on it somewhere, right, then it's considered to be archived. All right. So when an email comes in, it gets an inbox sticker and it just gets thrown into the bin. Right. So that's how we need to think about Gmail versus Outlook. That email could have an inbox sticker on it. It could have a important sticker on it. It could have all kinds of stuff on it. Okay. Traditional Outlook way, it just goes into one place. With Gmail, we can do all kinds of stuff with it. The Gmail power is where we get that advantage over Outlook. Outlook lets us search or lets us sort really nicely. Gmail has search power, and we can take advantage of that. I put no sorting down here at the bottom with the sad face. That's the only thing I wish Gmail did a better job at. Sorting back and forth, show me the oldest first, that sort of thing. There's ways of doing it, but it's very, very, very clunky. So this is, in my opinion, what an organized email box looks like. This is my email box from, I don't know, a week or so ago when I created this demonstration. It's not much different today. I'll do a live demo from my inbox itself. And some of the things with Gmail and Inbox Zero is I hear this every time I talk about this, but I get hundreds of emails a day. It would never work for me, right? So I just wanted to throw out some facts about my own email. I get 142 non-spam emails per day, and that's over the 19 years that I've been here at U of M. About 20 of those actually need my real attention. Okay, I would say the same for everybody here on this call. The emails that you get, right? There's a small percentage of them that need your attention. Okay. The ones that actually, oh, here, hang on a second. I got something in the chat. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Oh, John, can you not see the screen? Can everybody else see my screen? Okay, sorry, John. Bail out and come back maybe, or watch the recording afterwards. Okay, thank you all. So sorry about that. If anybody has any questions or wants to jump in at any time, feel free. Just unmute yourself and ask a question. I'm happy to jump off the rails. But back to this slide, my point is, yes, everybody, emails come in, a bunch are junk, and you're left with a bunch that need your attention. Of those that need your attention, how do you prioritize which ones need to be looked at first versus which ones you can look at a later time or when things aren't as urgent, okay? So about 20 of my emails actually need attention, okay? I automate my email bots so that those emails, those thousands of emails that I was talking about, never actually even hit my inbox. They go into other folders. And here, let me back up a little bit. So you'll see here in this image of my inbox, right? My inbox is slow, but over on the left, under all of my labels, you'll see numbers down there, right? Like there's one in here in this picture that says MEIT email with 10, right? Those are 10 emails that would have otherwise been in my inbox. All right, so this is an example of how I automatically move stuff around, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The easiest way that all of you can start trying some of these different tools is with the built-in Gmail stuff. I don't want to call it AI, but it is. It's AI, and it's been in Gmail for years and years and years. Some of it works great for some people. Like some people use the important first inbox. And the important first inbox, right, tries to figure out for you which emails are important, right? And it puts them up at the top, right? But then you say, well, how does it know? Okay, Gmail will analyze messages based on if you're replying to them, if you get them often, if it's messages you normally interact with, that sort of thing. And it kind of figures out how, Addie thought this was, responded to this message the last 5 times. It must be important, right? And it'll put it up at the top. And I just mentioned Addie because she uses the inbox first inbox and loves it. So that's a great example of using some of these built-in tools to help filter out some of this mail so that it's not hitting it's not right in your face. And there's a lot of unread first, starred first, priority inbox. All of these are examples of different built-in options to Gmail that you can use right off the bat. I put an asterisk on that. Okay, when you're trying out these different inboxes, right? Don't miss email, right? So you might want to like try one out, think it makes sense, and then go back to default and make sure that nothing's missed. Please don't miss that email from Ellen asking you to do something important. Because it might not think that Ellen is important because you've never responded to that email yet. So put a grain of salt with all of this stuff and use some common sense. Another good one is the way that, see at the bottom image here, you can automatically ask Gmail to sort into multiple mailboxes or tabs, and those tabs being social, promotions, updates, and forums. It's really easy for Gmail to know if a message comes from X or Twitter or Snapchat or Facebook, or and we get a lot of those in our email. Maybe not our U of M email, but we get a lot of those. Same thing with like promotions, TJ Maxx has a great sale, right? Stuff like that. Updates and forums. Gmail can automatically put those into these different tabs for you. And this is an example. My wife uses this one all the time. It's the one that works best for her, because the primary email box isn't going to get the the newsletters, let's say, or the the Kohl's coupons, right? So it just skips that, but it's still there for her should she need it. Cut the crap. This is a big one, and if anybody only takes away one thing from this meeting that's going to be super helpful, it's this. I tell people this all the time. When you see an email, right, and like this guy here, Blaine Briggs, reply database, like I never talked to this guy, so he just sends me an email that says any thoughts, right? If you'd like me to stop sending emails, click here. Well, your first thought is that, okay, I'm going to click here to get that to stop, but that's not going to do anything. That's just going to tell Blaine that I actually am alive. I'm seeing his messages and I interacted with it, right? By me clicking here, that's not going to do anything, or it doesn't have to do anything, right? If somebody clicks unsubscribe on a mechanical engineering newsletter, right, they'll probably get unsubscribed because, we're a reputable place. But Blaine Briggs is not, right? And I'm not going to click unsubscribe because that's just going to tell Blaine that, oh, wow, yeah, there's a live person on this end. We've caught somebody. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the 3 little dots at the top of that email, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to say block Blaine Briggs. And when I do that, it's going to pop up block this email address. Future messages from Blaine.Briggs or Blaine.Briggs will be marked as spam. And then I say block. So I never have to worry if Blaine's actually going to take me off his list. Gmail just knows, oh, Matthew doesn't want to get these are spam, and I'm automatically going to put them into trash. Automatically. I never see it. I don't have to choose if it's trash or not because I know that I'm never going to do business with Blaine.Briggs. Right? I'm not going to do this for, the MEIT newsletter or the college newsletter or something that I might actually need, right? But if it's junk, get it out of here. Never interact with it. If you have to click delete on an email more than once or archive on an email more than once, right? Set up a rule, right? And that rule is clicking on your 3 dots and going down to block this email address. If you take nothing else away from this, right? Remember that, right? That's how you get junk out of your email box. Okay. It takes a while to do it, especially if you're like most people and most inboxes that I see, that 1 out of every 3 messages is junk, right? Start on it. Take some time. You'll notice in a few weeks that those emails start coming down, especially the ones that you just didn't notice. You come in every morning, you click it, delete it, right? Just stop it from getting your attention. Don't let email control your inbox. Set boundaries with filters, okay? This is a rule of mine. Automate everything possible that doesn't require your special attention. All right. If you need to know of something, but it doesn't necessarily require your special attention, automate it. Okay. If I need to know that a backup didn't get performed last night on a server, right? I need to know that, but it doesn't necessarily require my special attention, right? I don't need to deal with that right now. Right? I can deal with it once my priorities are done with, right? So automate it. Automate everything possible that isn't a priority, right? I put this in here too. If all of your email is a priority, then none of your email is a priority, right? Because I get that a lot every day too. Well, all of my email are important. Well, then none of them are, right? You can't have it both ways. So if it's not a priority, right? Automate it. Okay, what's not going to be a priority? No offense, HR, but oh, got to do my timesheets, right? I know I have to do my timesheets, right? And I know at some point it's going to be a priority, but the automated messages from HR that we love with the cool emojis and stuff, maybe it doesn't need to hit your inbox. Okay, maybe it needs to go over to a filter that says like, my daily things that still need to be done. Okay, so when you come in the morning and you look at your inbox, you're not thinking, oh crap, I need to do my timesheet right away. You're going, oh crap, the building's on fire. And once you put the building out, then you can go over and look at your other labels, right? Your other automated email. Look at those when you have time to look at them. When you have a little downtime or when you're on your remote day or something like that, right? That's when you would filter those. I love added reminders. That's why I save them so that whenever I'm feeling sad, I can just go back and look at them and get a good laugh. So I'm going to do a live demo now. The stuff that I'm talking about for filters and whatnot, it takes a while to learn. Some of it might be a little bit overwhelming. I've been building my filters for years and years and years and years. So it might be a little bit overwhelming to see all this stuff and go, okay, yeah, you got to this point, but it took you years to get there. And I want to show you how to start getting there. So I'm just going to bop out. So you're going to have to forgive me because I'm going live here and I'm going to show off my inbox, but I want to make sure everybody can see it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. If I could get somebody from the audience to let me know if, like, is that a good zoom or is that too big? I see some thumbs. Okay, I see some thumbs. Okay. This is my inbox. Right? There's 5 things in it right now. For you, those of you that are curious how I do it, right? My inbox is my to-do list. Right? So I have an email here from April 16th calling admin intranet. That's something that I need to do. The mechanical engineering newsletter just came. I just read it. I'm going to use that as an example for a filter. And here's some other emails that have come in since we started on this, okay? An example, this mechanical engineering e-newsletter, right? I love the ME newsletter. I think it's great. Does it need room in my inbox, right? Does it need, do I need to look at it when it comes in? Maybe let's say that I do. I like to look at it. I like to congratulate faculty when they get awards, congratulate staff. It should take enough priority that I see it, okay? This other one, New York Times, right? I don't need to see that right away. Anymore, I don't want to see it right away or ever. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to make a rule for it, right? Remember how I said automate it, automate it, automate it. I don't need to see New York Times in my inbox, right? It's got to pay to get in my inbox, so I'm going to get it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click it, whoop, right? I'm going to right click on that email, or better yet, you can go into it and you can click your dots here, right? Filter messages like this. You'll see filter all over the place, but it's going to be right here. Filter messages like this. Usually I can right click it. Is there a filter here? Yeah, there's other ways to get to the filter, but if you go into the email, 3 dots, filter messages like this. All this is going to do is bring up a search menu in Gmail, which you're all familiar with. See this search menu here in Gmail? Right, and this one's going to say, okay, it's a list, and it has the words NYT, blah, 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 sparkpostmail.com, okay? Well, if I run a search on that, it's going to show me, look, oh, wow, it's all these New York Times emails. So now I know that my search criteria is correct, right? I'm going to create a filter with it. So anything that you can search on in Gmail, you can create a filter for. Okay, so if you know you get an email every day from do not reply at nsfgrants.gov, right? And you don't want to archive it, but you want to save it, maybe you look at it later, right? That would be a good opportunity, right? Because it probably comes from, this address thisplace.com, and it's always going to be that, right? In this case, for my New York Times alerts, this is what it came up with when, right? Remember, I found it, filter messages like these, right? This is its best way of filtering it. It knows how. That's why I use that filter messages like these tool, okay? So now I can say create a filter. And this is going to be the cool part. What do you want to do with that email when it comes into your inbox? Do you want to skip the inbox? Archive it. Okay. Remember when I talked about the recycle bin full of emails and you put stickers on all of them? So this is telling Gmail when an email comes in that matches this, what do you want to do with it? Okay, well, I want to skip the inbox. I want to archive it. That just means it doesn't get a place in my inbox. It doesn't get that inbox sticker. But let's say I want to keep it. I do want to keep it. I want to look at it every day. So I could apply the label. And then if I come look at all of the labels that I have created, right, I can apply the label daily emails. Okay, I can do a lot of stuff with it, as you can see. You can mark it as read. You can put a star on it. Okay, let's say you just say, Matthew, I just want to make sure that I see every email that Ellen sends me. You know, and I want it to have a green star. Okay, you could do it with a filter like this. You could say from aruta@umich.edu, star it. You know, or never send it to spam, or forward it to another person. All of these rules, these automations, we can do in Gmail with these filters. Okay, so here I could come in here and I could say create a filter. What that would do from now on, any email that comes in that's a part of this list, it would skip the inbox. It wouldn't even show up in my inbox. And it would go to my daily emails label, okay? So when it would come in, that daily emails label, that number would grow, okay? Just like here with MEIT emails, I can see that there's 2 emails in there. MEIT TDX, I can see that there's 16 emails in there, right? They're just not getting any space in my inbox. Okay, now I didn't apply it to this one. That's why this one is still here, right? But that's how you would run a filter. Now I can come in here, look at all of my settings, right? And when I mentioned that it took me years and years and years to get to this point, it's because I have tons and tons and tons and tons of filters, tons of them, right? And I've created these over the years, okay? When something comes in here, like here's another good example, right? 3 dots, filter, right? I can also come over here, 3 dots, filter, right? Anywhere I come in, create a filter. Who's it from? It's from falcon@crowdstrike.com. What do I want to do with it? Okay. Do I want to make a new label over here and make it so that it never hits my inbox? Do I want to have it hit my inbox, but also have a label, you know, of, you know, more 2022 or something like that? You know, you can automate that stuff with rules, right? And it might seem overwhelming to create rules, but if you do it as you go, you know, as an email comes in, like this New York Times email, okay, gross. I don't ever want to get this again. 3 dots, block. I'll never get it again, right? It's that easy. You know, that's one. Cut the crap. If it's garbage, never see it again. You don't need to see it, okay? If it's garbage, you never want to see it again, unless you want to go look for it. Okay, that's another way to do it, right? So I can say filter messages like this from this address, create filter, right? If I want to skip the inbox and mark it as read, right? No numbers anywhere will ever go up. It comes across as a read email. It's skipped the inbox, so it's not in my inbox and it has no labels. Okay. Well, where is it, Matthew? Remember that big giant bin I told you about? As emails come in, you put stickers on them. Well, if they don't have stickers on them, they're still in that big bin, and that big bin is called all mail. So if you have an email in your inbox and you hit archive, it doesn't get deleted. It just goes to all mail. The sticker got pulled off, essentially, is what's being done. Question from the audience. How does block X compare to hitting the spam button? Okay, hitting the spam button will help train Gmail as to what you consider spam. Okay, so if you hit the spam button 3 or 4 times, maybe Gmail would figure it out and start grabbing those. Blocking just says, okay, anything from that address gets blocked from now on, regardless if it hits the spam rules. I hope that makes sense. If Gmail offers to unsubscribe, is the same as telling a spammer I'm a live one. In my opinion, yes. I don't trust Google not to be actually selling me as a live person, right? I don't trust it. I trust my own inbox and the rules that I set on it, right? So if I say block you from coming in, I'm going to block you from coming in, right? I'm not going to trust Gmail to handle it for me by contacting the company and having the company get me off their list. You know, it's kind of like trusting, the do not call list, right? If you get a phone number, if you get a spam call on your phone, do you block that number or do you just call the do not call list and report it? No, you probably do both, right? Or at least you block it on your phone because you never want that person to call again. That's kind of what these filters are. That's what the blocks are. That's what these filters are. And there's a million different ways that you can set, in here, mark as read, star it, applying labels, deleting it. There's lots of different ways, right, that you can customize these automations so that they do what you want it to do. Whether it's get out of your inbox, marking it as red, starring it a certain color if it's from a certain person. That's what these filters will allow you to do. Any questions on filters? See the hands. Okay. I'm gonna go back. Let's try this here. Boop. All right, live demo's done. Filters and labels. I guess I didn't talk about labels that much. I'm just going to cover it here real quick. Labels are these things over here on the left, right? I call them stickers to begin with, right? Like as an email comes in, you can get a sticker on it and it goes in the bin. That's what labels are. Emails can have more than one label. It's kind of like a folder. A lot of people think about it like a folder. Oh, I'm going to drag that email into a folder. You're just dragging it. You're removing an inbox label and putting on a new label. Okay. So when I say filters, 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 labels, 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 use your filters to apply labels to get stuff out of your inbox. Okay. Okay. So you can filter 95% of your email. I guarantee you can. I guarantee it. It takes work. Filter as you go. That's what I say. If you filter one email a day and you just get the rest out of your way, you got to move on with life. Okay, Matthew, I got to work. I don't have time to do all this crap. Okay, just do one a day. You can commit yourself to doing one email a day. Filter one email a day, right? And hopefully next year that's 50 less emails in your inbox, right? And that stuff compounds itself. So filter as you go. When they arrive in your inbox and shouldn't be in your inbox, create a filter. All right, say that with me again, Matthew. If it shows up in your inbox and should not be there, make a filter. Okay, if you don't have time to make a filter, delete it and do it, make the filter next time. But make the filter as soon as you can for things like newsletters, alerts, university record. I love the university record. Yeah, I do too. But read it later. Read it when you have time. Read it on lunch. Read it after, Ellen's done, with her conference. Relevant marketing stuff should be filtered, right? It should never hit your inbox. A quiz though, where should irrelevant email go? They should be blocked. Block them. Never let them into your inbox. Right? Anything that's, if you see an email in your inbox that's irrelevant and has nothing to do with you, ever block that. Prevent it from having access to your email again. Right? Set some boundaries. So you put these things all together, and what do you get? Right? You get a lot of different stuff. You get different types of inboxes that you can use. Addie uses priority inbox. Thank you for sharing that, Addie. I know some people use unread first. I talked about how my wife splits between like primary, social, updates, that sort of thing. We talked about filters. We talked about labels. There's all kinds of different ways that you can get to this, but you have to prioritize. Like look at your inbox, right? Pretend like that's your living room in your house, right? You're not going to put all kinds of garbage in the living room of your house, right? There's a place for that stuff, hopefully. And try to do that with your inbox, okay? And think about the emails that you get every day that you don't need to necessarily interact with. Good to have. Yes, I might need that for later, but you do not belong in my inbox. How do you get it out? And how do you get it out automatically, right? And that time will compound itself, right? Some tips. Gmail has keyboard shortcuts. If I'm in Gmail and I hit C, it'll open up a new window to compose a new email. If I hit E, it erases it, right? I don't need my mouse if I'm in email. It's kind of a nerd hack. I actually use my mouse a lot, but like Marie on the IT team does not. So there's ways around getting around email without having to use your mouse all the time. Email templates, canned responses. I use these all the time. So my big signature that I have that I put in, I don't want it going out on every email. I only want it to be put in on the emails that, I want to look professional from Matthew, the IT manager. So I use a canned response or a template, right? So I'll type up my message and I'll go insert template, boop, and it puts my signature in there for me. Sometimes that template might be, sorry, I'm away from the office right now. I'll have to get back to you later. And I don't want to turn on my out of office. So I just hit reply, template, send my out of office, boop. So think of email templates as just like an email that you can type up or write up and save and then apply to future emails. It used to be called canned responses. Undo send. Oh my gosh, undo send. If you didn't know about Gmail's undo send, check it out. It's just in settings. It enables canceling emails for up to like 30 seconds. So if I send you an email, it doesn't actually get out of my outbox for 30 seconds. It gives me 30 seconds to actually cancel that. I've used it so many times. I'm in such a big hurry. I'll reply to an email and I'll send it and go, oh crap, I forgot to include this. And I'll go and cancel it. I can do that for up to 30 seconds after I send an email, right? It's all built in. It's called undo send. Scheduled send an email at a later date or time. Managers on this call, stop emailing your people at 7 p.m. or 6 a.m. Schedule that email to go out when they're working, right? Schedule send. If you know that you're going to be on vacation tomorrow, but you have an important email that you need to send in the morning, schedule send it. And the schedule button is just it's like underneath the send button in an email. So if you're composing an email and you go to send it, it's just like a little drop down that says schedule send right on the send button. And then snooze is another amazing one. Okay, we talk about zero inbox. If you have something in your inbox, I think my example was admin intranet, right? If I know I'm not going to be able to work on that till June 1st, snooze it. Get it out of my inbox. And then on June 1st, boop, it'll magically pop back up, right? This would be for things like, oh, I know, oh, Addie sent me that timesheet reminder, but I'm not actually going to do it until the day that it's due. I'll snooze that until the day that it's due. And then the morning, oh, bloop, it'll come back to my inbox, right? I'm using my inbox as my to-do list, okay? And by snoozing things, getting it out of my to-do list, and then it just automatically coming back up on my to-do list, it's a great tool. And then advanced search in Gmail is another thing, right? Here in this example, I just have it in red, has attachment file name.pdf, right? This is searching for an email that has an attachment, and the file name is a PDF. There's a million different ways that you can search for things in Gmail, right? It was sent before this date or after this date. It has an attachment. This person was included on the email. Their Gmail has wicked search capabilities. Well, those were our Gmail tips. Google Drive. Wanted to spend some time talking about Google Drive as well. This is AI's way of coming up with something cool. I asked it to make me a picture of something cool, and it came up with this guy. It reminds me of the guy from Walking Dead. I don't know if it's cool or not, but he's sitting next to ice. So I guess that's what cool is. Google Drive is cool. Google Drive is one of the first cloud storage offerings that U of M had. You can store files, access files, share files, collaborate on files, backup files. It's really cool. Okay. It also integrates with Google Docs, Google Photos, Sheets, all these Google services use Drive as their storage repository. Okay. So it's not just Google Docs and Google Sheets, it's the backend for those services. Okay. The biggest complaint is finding things. It's overwhelming when you search for things here at U of M, especially here at U of M. And I'll show you why in a minute. Search isn't that cool for Google Drive. Navigating Google Drive is complicated. When you're in Google Drive itself and you click on your search bar at the top, right, you're given options on how you can search. Okay. If you can narrow down those options on what it is that you want to find, it will help you tremendously, right? Somebody says, oh, I've got a document that was shared with me last year and I can't find it. Do you know what type of document it was, right? Was it a Google document? Was it a Google spreadsheet? Was it a zip file? Was it a picture? So if you can whittle these search results down a little bit, it will actually help your Google Drive show you what you're looking for. Okay. The biggest issue, in my opinion, with Google Drive here at the U of M is this location. So if you look down here, see location. When you search in Google Drive, it searches anywhere, which also includes visible to anyone at U of M. Okay. This is 8 billion things. So if I go into Google Drive and I search for, Easter candy, if anybody at U of M ever made anything in Google Drive and it had Easter candy in it, and they didn't have it secured, it will show up in your search results, right? So you're going to get a billion things back. So what I recommend, if anything, when you're searching for anything in Google Drive, if you just set the location to my drive or shared with me, okay, take out the visible, right, and take out the anywhere. You just want my drive and shared with me, it's going to take your stuff down to like, 1 million things instead of 1 billion, right? And just doing that will help to get those results a little bit easier to dig through. Let's see, stop annotating. Boop. Oh, okay. And there's some of my cats and dogs. I don't know how to clear that, Nick. That's all right. The dog has the pink stuff on it. So it's open for Q&A if anybody has any questions. That's the end of the discussion. But if anybody has any questions or anybody wants to provide their own examples of how they can, how they've managed to get a clean inbox, the floor is yours. Otherwise, I wish everybody a great afternoon. And I always encourage you to please reach out, me-it@umich.edu. Any Gmail questions, Google Drive questions, we are always, always, always happy to help. Yay. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. William, hitting the button to save an attachment to Google Drive and trying to download it to my computer. Yeah, I mean, you just have to hit the download instead. Like, there's no way of turning that off that I know of, William. I do the same thing, and I'm like, I know I downloaded it. It doesn't hurt to save it to Google Drive anyways. It just takes up that storage room. So I think it's just
Well, storage room is one thing. It's also clutters up the that particular main inbox in folder and
yeah. So yeah, that's
it.
just a practice thing. You just got to stop clicking on the wrong thing, I think. I don't know a better way.
It's a tad too close together. That's all. And sometimes when it's still scanning the file, for some reason, it just as if it moves a few pixels to the right automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just irritating.
Yeah, they want you to put all of your stuff into the cloud, William. That way they can data mine it all. No.
Indeed.
All right, let's see, Addie. Gmail, there's a way to stop a PDF preview from opening in a new tab. Like you want it to download and open in Acrobat or open in the same window so that you would have to go hit back?
Yeah, I just wanted to like open up in my Gmail, like to view it in the email itself instead of every time I like go to look at a preview to confirm it, or PDF to confirm it, it opens a brand new tab. So then like if I have a bunch of stuff I need to review, I have like 8 new tabs open because I had 8 new documents that I have to like click through. I don't know,
Yeah.
just a small thing. It just kind of bugs me that like it opens a whole new tab. And I
Instead
just
of
want to
opening it within the tab or within the,
within the actual email.
I would have to, let me think about that one. I'll have to, maybe I'll swing down and see you one day when you're in the office. But there are ways to manipulate things with PDF because sometimes Chrome likes to do it. Sometimes you can say use Acrobat within Chrome. Sometimes it can download it and use Chrome. So there's like all kinds of different ways. But yes, there are ways to manipulate behavior on attachments. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, come see me.
Okay.
We got to talk about your ignoring my timesheet emails too. So
No. What? No. As soon as
just
you bring me the Monstera plant.
Thursday.
I thought it was Monday.
Don't blame me. It's Bryce's fault.
I'm just teasing. Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope this was helpful. We're gonna share the recording afterwards. But seriously, I encourage you, please reach out and let me know if you have any questions or even if you have any other tidbits that I can share with others in the future. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great day.